Alrighty, thank you so much for clicking on this new year review video. It has been a year already, a little bit more than a year. First, in this video I will do a little recap of my 2024 recap video, and after that we're gonna see, or I'm gonna tell you rather, how my year went, what I've been thinking, what I've been reflecting, and hopefully there is something in it for you as well. So in 2024, in my recap video, I mainly talked about how easy it is to play the ocarina, but I can't play the ocarina yet. Still I can't play the ocarina. Unfortunately, I've not really learned to play, but my music theory knowledge has somewhat increased, I guess. So maybe if I pick up the ocarina, I now know which configuration is what note, then maybe I can play the ocarina. Besides that, I was hoping that my worm farm was going to be alright, going to do well. I don't really have any proof to show you. Maybe I'll edit a picture of my worm farm here on the video, but my worm farm is doing alright. It's doing fine actually. They really like my decaffeinated coffee grounds, and yeah, they've been eating a lot from it, and and hopefully this summer I am going to use all their poo basically and make my garden a lot healthier. I also wanted to learn a lot more, and I can safely say that that is definitely the case, that I've learned a lot more. So, to start off with a small recap of 2025. In 2025 I just made 2 book review videos and 8 shorts, 8 animal shorts, so those are not really a lot, but in my defense, I went on an internship abroad, you know, I went to Ireland, and that took a lot of time, of course. I had some ideas which I didn't execute. I did film quite some stuff, but it wasn't really workable, usable, actually. So unfortunately, I couldn't really make a very cool professional vlog about me going to Ireland and studying the authors. But anyway, I learned a lot, but now I am skipping some months actually, because my internship was from April to July, from the back of my head. But the year definitely starts at January. And what did I do in January? Well, nothing interesting, definitely. It was the final phase of a school project where we were like piloting a tool to assess neighborhoods and their nature quality, let's say nature values and biodiversity. So it was very basically urban ecology, and I thought it would be fun because of course I do like city skylines, I do like ecology, I love nature, so perfect combination, right? But yeah, we were just literally piloting the tool and see if the tool was usable or not. And I thought that we were more into the area of like designing a neighborhood, you know, and designing a neighborhood with more natural value that adds to the biodiversity, you know, habitat connectivity, for example, what kind of plants, what kind of vegetation you would use and plant, what kind of trees you would put in a neighborhood, you know. But it wasn't like that. It was just a tool. It was a tool, and the tool was semi-workable. Let's just keep it at that. Well, then February I made a book review on AI. It was Co-Intelligence by, I can't remember the writer, but I'm very glad I actually did read that book, because it gave me a very good fundamental understanding of large language models in particular. And yeah, it helps with conversation, you know. In that period, AI was really in a boom. You know, the race right now is still on the AI race, with nobody knowing exactly where we are going, what the trajectory is. Trajectory, yeah. And it turns out in my agenda, it looks like I was starting to learn more about music, of course. Well, because I started with music in 2024, basically, with the ukulele, bought the ocarina. But in 2025, I really was trying to learn more about theory, and I was trying to learn the guitar. Actually, I feel like I bought the guitar in March, because I do remember that I bought my acoustic guitar before I went to internship to Ireland, and I didn't really play with it. So yeah, that was quite unfortunate that I couldn't really start. So that's why I played mostly my ukulele in Ireland, which was very fun and motivating actually to learn more about music. But I'm running in front of the gun again. I believe that's the right saying. Correct me if I'm wrong with running the gun, right? So in April, I went to Ireland to study otters as part of an internship program, and I did learn a lot about otter ecology, of course. If you have any question, leave them in the comments. And besides the professional part, I also did meet up with a lot of amazing people. They're so great. Like the community where I was, amazing people. Very inspiring as well in the arts. All kinds of arts, you know, visual art to music. They're amazing. Some amazing people. Very considerate people as well. So after this internship, I really got motivated to learn more about music, and I feel like I really do have to thank them all for motivating me, because I don't know if I would be at the level that I'm right now. I'm not even that good, but I feel like keeping up with something for half a year or a year, you know, sticking with such a hobby, um, it's hard for a lot of people, or at least that's what I'm seeing, right? Like people try to learn instruments or a new skill or something, and eventually, like a quarter year, they quit because they hit a wall or something. But yeah, I feel like I'm going up. I'm just climbing. I'm literally just climbing. And sometimes I have to climb like horizontally, you know, and then I go up vertically again. But I'm not stopping. I'm not stopping and climbing, you know. So I'm really thankful for all those people in Ireland that uh, made me so motivated to just keep on climbing, you know. And I'm definitely planning on going back to that community, you know, maybe in a year, maybe 2 years or something, um, for a little return, you know, a small vacation, of course. So after my internship, I went back to school, of course, starting with my last year of my studies of applied biology. and that meant that I had to choose a couple minors to study, and they were basically ecological consultancy. And why I chose those minors, because one was definitely purely focused on consultancy within the Netherlands, so a lot of laws, a lot of specific situational things. And the other one was more focused about researching wild animals and assessing the crisis, like the social dynamics around wild animals, because there are a lot of conflicts between humans and other animals, especially when it comes to living environment and living space. One of the classic examples are like elephants in Africa or the elephants in Indonesia, for example. Indonesia, Thailand, you know, they conflict a lot with local farmers because they eat their crops and destroy their fields and make it quite dangerous to live in the same area. But that's just one example of a coexistential crisis, maybe. So I was starting to learn quite some of that too. Well, in October, more school stuff. It was pretty boring the last quarter of the year as well. It was quite boring. I didn't really do a lot. I just logged in and was learning stuff, doing school stuff and stuff. I was doing stuff. Alright, so now to the important part of this video. What did I learn? Number 1, I learned about Logseek. So what Logseek is, it's a note-taking application app. So what does that mean? That means that you put your notes in the program, you add hashtags to them, and it categorizes that note that you took. So if you go and search for keywords that you hashtagged, categories, then you can find all your notes with those labels on them. So what this program basically does is it categorizes, it orders your notes, basically the same way as Wikipedia does, or at least that's the workflow, the vision that I use. I have some information, and within that information I have certain keywords which I make its own note, and then I click on that, and then I get all the information of that term or that topic or anything. It's amazing. It's so amazing. It's my own little brain database thing, and yeah, I think it's amazing. Definitely, if you go to school, this is a must. I feel like that this is a must, because this way you can't lose your notes. It's very easy to categorize all your notes depending on what subject the notes are for, and you can even make it in a way that you see what kind of overlap there is between notes as well. So maybe you have something about one topic, but it's connected to another topic, and you can literally see it, and then your brain like, holy shit, that's a connection, so I'm gonna make more connections, right? So Logseek or Obsidian might be the more mainstream one, the more known program, but it's basically the same. Maybe there are a lot of other applications that work exactly the same as Logseek and Obsidian. So generally I would just advise to go and look for the program that fits your needs, but at least use one. Just use one. Besides using Logseek, I've become more conscious of the way in practicing art. And what I mean by that is I see the process or something. I can see it in front of me. I can feel it, you know. Now with music, I can really feel the steps that I'm taking, you know. It's kind of weird because I never really had that feeling with any of my skills or anything that I learned actually, that I was actually feeling the process. In the past, it was more like just in an instant like that I noticed like, oh, well, it's quite, I did quite good or something, you know, like it was not like, oh, I'm getting a little better, oh, I'm getting a little better and a little better, you know. No, but right now I really do see the way or something, you know. It all adds to the hockey stick curve as well, and it's all basically the same principle, I guess. So always be mindful of the little details, you know, the fundamentals, and never stop climbing. So I also wanted to plan more and stick with my plans that I made. Um, Last year it went alright in 2025, but it had I have a lot of more work to do on that front. Now it's 2026 already, and I still find it very, very difficult to stick with the plan, to do the task that I had set up the day before, you know, to actually do them and be productive. Maybe that's why making this video took so long as well. We're already out of January, almost February, and yeah, that's quite late for a 2025 recap, you know. You're almost on a quarter of the next year, so yeah, still have to do a lot more work, and hopefully in the 2026 recap I can say that I have improved. And the last thing, or the last main thing that I have learned the last year in 2025 was mostly that it was quite hard to source my information, if you know what I mean. So let me explain. I would get it into an argument with someone, or more like a civil discussion, you know? And of course, I have my views, I have my information, and the most important thing, I have my emotion. So, what happens is that I can at least say that I don't like something, or I'm not agreeing with something, because I know I read something or got some information that got me to feel a certain way, but instead of remembering the actual information, I just remember the emotion. And that is a problem within a discussion, because if you cannot explain why you're feeling a certain way, someone else, it's impossible for someone else to understand you, right? It's simple. So that is something that I bumped into a couple of times. Not that it was a big problem or something. It was more for myself that I was like, holy shit, why can't I just explain it? That I have to Google it or use AI or something, you know? It's so in 2026 I want to be more careful about what I say, what my opinions are, and have a and track my information a lot better, you know, document it. And I feel like with programs such as Blogseek, it's gonna be a lot easier to actually gather the information, store the information, and label it on certain topics. So this year 2026, I want to try and keep hold of the information instead of forgetting the information and just stay with the emotion, because of course for my emotions it's enough, but to make myself understood, it's definitely not enough. You need information and good sources. Those are basically what I learned in 2025, but also what I'm gonna do in 2026. You know, keep on learning, keep on climbing, becoming a better and especially a more nuanced person. That's basically it for this year review. This review I will upload on my Northernwolfie channel, but the next one will definitely be uploaded on my more artistic channel, J Nordwolf. So because I want to keep it a little bit more separate, you know. One channel is more for education, information, and the other one is more about expression, art, and culture, I guess. And with that being said, thank you so much for watching. Hopefully 2026 will be your year, and see you in the next one. Alrighty.